Hello, hello. So we're going ahead and just get started with this. Rap music, it's cool. Rap music is hype. Rap music is exciting. Rap music is violent. Rap music is multicultural. Rap music can be positive. Rap music can be negative. Rap music is vulgar. Rap music can be clean. Rap music has a lot of cursing. Rap music can have meaning. Rap music can be pointless. Rap music is energetic. Rap music has a certain vibe. Rap music is historic. Rap music is fundamental. Rap music is based off your neighborhood. Rap music depends on where you're from. Rap music showcases talent. Rap music showcases those who may not have talent. Rap music is beautiful. Rap music is ugly. Rap music is about experience. Rap music is about a memory. Rap music brings joy. Rap music may bring pain. All these different things that I can be said probably about any genre of music. You could probably say that across the board, just about anything. Rap music has no place in the church. I can tell you there's so many times that I've had that said to me. I'll never forget it. There's this moment where I was a member at a church and we was doing a mission trip. We had our little rally or get together before we went to our mission site. And as the pastor was making announcements and going over the details of what to expect for that day, just going through the order of things and how everything was planned out, he got to the announcement where we were going to have a time of worship where we were going to have, people singing songs, and he was going to have me come up as one of the artists and do a few rap songs. I'll never forget the look. She was a white girl, maybe early teens. The moment that he mentioned rap music, she curled up her nose, stuck her tongue out, with her lips worded rap. I tell that story because I never will forget her reaction or the look on her face. And something like that, it challenges me. Rap music seems to have this stigma for being something negative, but you could say that about country music, rock and roll, certain genre of music. I had that phase where it was looked at as evil or that devil music, or wasn't looked at as positive. But we're coming into a point where if God is the God of the universe, and if there's nothing impossible with God, well, it's possible that God can use anything to reach people. If it's in the right context, if it is within His will and is done the right way, according to, the gospel, if it's always something that's pointing to Jesus, leading people to Jesus, well, God can use it. It just was a challenging thing for me to be separate or try to make myself different from all the other material or music that's already out there. Just that imagery and just seeing that girl, have this look on her face, have this negative view of rap music. I've had people approach me that they care nothing about rap. They complain about they can't understand it, or they don't understand the language, they don't understand the slang terms, they don't understand the phrasing, they don't understand because sometimes they go too fast. People listen to my music and they're like, man, I really feel what you're saying. I really can get and understand your rap music. Like, I like listening to you. Your music seems to have a message, or you seem to present your wording of things pretty clear. I take pride in that because a lot of my music, I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I tell people I'm more real and more outspoken in my rap music than I actually am in real life. Brandon Smith, the person, I'll be honest with you, I kind of view myself as boring and not really something spectacular, but you add in the art. It's still me. Me as a rap artist, it's still me, but I dial it up to a 12. I have to tell it. We're talking about rap music and the church, so I have to start with my past. Usually, don't feel like I'm very good at telling my testimony or telling my story this way. That's another thing again, because if this was a rap song, I could be able to do it easily, but simply just voicing it out and talking about it. I hate it when it comes off to seeing like if it's a contest. When people tell their testimony, it's like They want to try to tell you that they were bad, they were terrible, they were this, that, and that. I mean, I've heard some amazing testimonies. I don't think there really is a contest or should be a competition. The fact of it is, this is mine, how I'm telling it. It's specific to me, good or bad, ugly or or not. It is what it is. You use the term loosely, troubled teen, troubled teenager, whatever your ideal of that is. That was me. I don't want to come off cliche. I understand who I was, and in my past, and as a kid and as a teen, I developed self-hate for myself. I hated myself, didn't care for my life. By the time I got to high school, that's when it was at its peak. That was probably the worst of it. With the situation building up to this, my relationship with my father was not great, so I was mad and upset about that. There was a point in time where I was really upset and angry at my mom. Her boyfriend, I'll just say one of her boyfriends, was positioning himself as an authoritative figure, but I did not ask that from him. There was no legal marriage documents, or there was no stepdad kind of relationship. I felt like that was handled poorly by both my mom and my father, who should have stepped up and set some boundaries, but those boundaries weren't set. And things got taken overboard to the point where I was in an abusive situation. Family Children's Service had to step in and got me out of that situation. I was angry at my parents, very rebellious, had the attitude of just being angry. And the whole angry and temper thing didn't just start off or build up. By the time I got to high school, I was getting in trouble in grade school as early as kindergarten, first grade, for my anger and my temper. I was just mad all the time. By the time I reached up high school, I hated the world and everything in it, and I hated myself. I felt like I was worthless. All this frustration and all this anger, I experienced both being the bully, and I never really been the popular kid, never really had close, tight friends that I really could say that I associated with. It was always various groups to groups. I never really felt like I had established my real identity or my particular place or spot where I fit in. A lot of dirt and a lot of things that I did, I hid from my mom. I didn't always tell my mom the truth about things. There was a lot of dirt that I wanted to keep from her so I could keep my privileges. There's one side where people might think that, well, I was this good, decent kid, but there's this other side where I was just troubled and had all this stuff bottled up, and I had nowhere to really release it, like no real outlet or where to go with it. I was bitter at the situation, felt like I was dealt a bad hand. We didn't come from a place of privilege. People looked at that like, you don't really want to associate them. They don't really have much of anything. Didn't want to bother with it. Or you try to see if friends want to come over and hang out. A lot of them was like, oh man, you're living in the hood, man. I don't want to go up there and possibly get shot. Just all the kind of stupid stuff you can imagine growing up. And I call it the hood boot camp. I mean, we had kids in the neighborhood, 2 kids that, was on house arrest, having ankle bracelets and things like that. While my mom and grandmother were preaching this good home training thing, talking about fight with your mind and not with your fist, you got some kids being knuckleheads because some of their parents may not care about teaching their kids right, going around. And I mean, from any situation, from bullying, from the stupid stuff that I can deal with, I was like, well, all due respect, I was like, this whole fighting with your mind or fighting with intelligence stuff isn't going to really work out. I mean, I had to fight. There was times that I fought, whether I lost some, won some, bullied because of fights, didn't matter. I had to do what I had to do, and it was different. No matter what generation, kids can be cruel. You got some parents who care and some parents who don't. That's the reality of the situation. So I mean, I would love to tell people that fighting be a last resort. If it can be, yeah, fighting should be the last resort. But if no one wants to listen and no one wants to leave you alone, I mean, a good right hit to the jaw or a good hit in the stomach, I mean, good kick in the face. Sorry, not sorry. That was just how it was. If I wanted someone out of my face to leave me alone, any chance, I had the anger and the bitterness built up to do it. Wrong person, right opportunity. There you go. It's a wrap. There's a lot more I could say, but because I know there's other family members and other people who are going through things, and I really don't need them to hear me go into further details, but I'll say that there were songs and different influences that by my sophomore year became a turnaround when I started getting into rap music due to poetry in my English class, and I started writing songs, and I realized, I really like this. I can do something with this. At the same time, I happened to have a Spanish teacher who I didn't realize was also the drama director at her high school, and she basically drafted me into going into theater. So I had the rap music thing I started, and then I started acting and being in theater. I was having fun. I really didn't realize how good I was at it, or that I had some sort of talent being an actor until maybe junior, senior year. But for the most part, I was using it as a tool to hide. For a few moments, I get to be the hero. I get to be the good-looking guy. I get to be the person that I was not, because being myself, I felt miserable. I didn't feel really connected. I didn't feel like I was valued or, had a place or was worth anything. I looked in the mirror and I hated it. People irritate me when they told me that I looked like my dad. Well, understanding perspective of the person who I felt my dad was, just did not want to hear that. I really didn't care to have any kind of association with him. Didn't care that I looked like him. I wanted my own face, my own identity, be my own person. So it irritates me. But me as an adult now, getting kind of ahead of myself, I am accepting that fact. You can't help who your dad is, and all this BS recently coming up about me not having my father's last name. But a blind Stevie Wonder can look at me and look at that man can tell that I am definitely his son. So we could scratch all that. Like I said, tons of issues. I'm trying to tell you all this because I don't know where your stance is with God. I don't know where your stance is with the Christian faith, but my testimony it's mine, but it seems kind of minor to somebody who's gone through rehab and suddenly found themselves clean because they chose Jesus, or someone who might have been a former stripper at a strip club, but somehow they reached a turning point and then now they chose Jesus. Or some of the extraordinary testimonies are people who are born and raised in a Christian home, like they were around that environment, didn't realize they were in need of a savior, but somehow they managed to figure it out and they ended up really getting it and finally decided to have a real, true relationship with Jesus, and that changed them. I don't know how to fully really grasp or explain when someone's going through a tough time. They had all this experiencing of loss. Everything that you could probably think of has gone wrong in their life. Why would they choose Jesus? I would tell you that with some of the things that have gone in my life, and not even gone into heavy detail, some people would hear the things that I've gone through, of things that have happened, they would not be able to understand how I could believe about there's a God. Like, why would I believe in Jesus with all the things that have happened? And there's other people who have gone through worse, but I can't even say, well, how can those people, the people who have gone through way, way worse than I have, how do they end up finding out the truth for themselves and choosing Jesus? It's one of those things that once you get it, you get it. And there's evidence all around. People just either they don't care to look or they choose not to look. But the evidence is there all around when you know how to look and where to look. I say it's divine intervention. God was already knowing what he wanted and what he wanted me to do way, way beforehand. While I was even being conceived, he already knew. I didn't. So we come to senior year of high school. I'm 18 years old, probably the most important stage in my life, most important point in my life where these decisions are being made. I'm just ready to be done with high school. Senioritis hit big time. What turned things around was I happened to have gotten to my first relationship. My first, real serious relationship, my senior year sweetheart. She happened to be a preacher's daughter. This is where it all started, the whole discussion about God and what church do I go to? And I never really put much thought into that. I thought being my naive, ignorant self, and just going off of kind of what other people thought. I thought, why would God care about me? I mean, what does God have for me? Like, what does God have anything to do with me? Like, why should I care or look into that? A lot of times people would ask me things about church or things about God. I would tell them I'm a Christian just to move on from the conversation, so they wouldn't continue on asking me questions. Like, I was just being such a poser about it. But this time it was different. I started showing up at church. Here's another criticism. I mean, if you're aware of my history, or this is probably going more for my people in my hometown. People talk about all black churches or different denominations. When I started going to church, I went where family was already going. I didn't want to go to where I didn't really know anybody. I kind of wanted to go where I at least would feel a little bit comfortable, because I'm like, man, what am I doing showing up in a church? I mean, I was sitting there kind of uncomfortable, thinking that the roof was going to cave in because I'm such a sinner. I'm sitting there sweating and being all nervous, like a prostitute, in a pew. I'm like, this is what am I doing here right now? But I have this girlfriend now whose dad is a preacher. But I'm in this situation where I'm starting to go to church, starting to go to youth group. I'm 18 years old. Have no idea, but I'm noticing some familiar faces. The church that I went to was a church that my younger brother and sister were already attending. And I said, well, at least I know there's some people there that I'm already familiar with, so I'm going to go to this church. It had nothing against with why don't I go to an all-black church, or how come I didn't go to this and that church. Had nothing to really do with that, because I can feel comfortable at an all-black church or whatever church. It really didn't matter. I mean, the point of it is, was I going to be able to know him? Was I going to be able to build and nurture a relationship with Jesus? Like, was I going to be able to find the answers that I was looking for? And I wanted to try to at least go to where family was already there. At least I wasn't on my own or felt like I was completely around strangers, because at this time it meant nothing for me to be isolated. I isolated myself all the time with the issues that I had and things that I was dealing with and how I was feeling about myself. I was not really a people person. I made my mom mad sometimes because I didn't want to go and speak for myself or didn't want to approach people, and she got irritated by that. So me meeting people and connecting people was really not my thing. But boy, when you start getting around a body of believers, if you're an introvert, you better prepare yourself. I mean, there's a difference. There's the church people, there's Christians, the people who actually get it, the people who show up on Sunday. You can show up on Sunday and sit in a pew, but I'm going to tell you, just because you show up at church every Sunday in a pew doesn't necessarily mean you're a Christian. I'm not going to sit there and spend time determining, well, who's actually saved and who's not and all that. I'm just saying there's a distinct difference, because you talk about bearing fruit, good fruit, a good tree producing good fruit, or a bad tree that's dead that's producing none. Once you get it, you'll understand there's a difference. I'm just saying it meant nothing for me to isolate myself, to be antisocial. I'm very good at it. I was very, very good at it. Once I start showing up at church, and once I started learning and started soaking things in, man, I had so many different people who wanted to hug on me and tell me they love me, tell me that they're happy with me being there. I was like, what is this? I can tell you right now, when they talk about love languages, physical touch is definitely not one of them for me. It's not a bad thing, but it's an unfortunate thing, because I can't really tell you when I hit the phase of not became too cool or too much of a grown up or big man to hug my mom or to kiss my mom goodbye. I did that recently when I got older and became more of an adult, but there was that point in time where our family wasn't big on hugs and doing things like that. For me, at least, I can't tell you when that switch was. I can't exactly, I just know that wasn't a thing. Hugs and bye and being all like that would just, like I said, that's because I isolated myself. I was very good at not being touchy-feely. I was very good at not associating myself with people. I just cut myself off. So the whole non-physical touch thing, it did not bother me. But then I was like showing up at church and I just realized, like, man, there's some huggers here. There's some people who just love just to hug your neck. You know, I come to appreciate it more now, but for me in the beginning, it was kind of strange. There was a lot of things that I didn't understand about the Christian faith, was just kind of learning. It started, you know, to transform me. Like I started asking questions. I started thinking about things more. I showed up at the services. I showed up at youth group. April 2005 comes around. There's this event called Flood of the Blood, and the speaker was an evangelist by the name Paul Vick. I believe Paul Vick was his name. The event went on for 3 nights. So you had April 21st, April 22nd, and then April 23rd. April 23rd is the night that I will never forget. It's the night that changed history. It changed the course of my life, because that's the night when Paul Vick was up there and he was giving an account about the woman who was sick. She was sick and she was constantly bleeding. She went to all the physicians. She used up all her money going around trying to get help and trying to cure or fix her issue with bleeding, and there was no answer. She couldn't stop it. No one that she tried to seek help would stop it. Jesus was walking among a crowd, a huge crowd. This lady, out of desperation and out of thought, just out of faith, she thought, just if I can just touch a piece of his garment, just a piece, I surely would be healed. Out of the whole crowd, you know, there's so many people that are touching Jesus as he's going through this crowd. And this woman, she manages to get through, touches Jesus, and he notices that someone has touched him. But this woman, because of her faith, because just of her faith and trusting that just if she could just touch Jesus, just touch his linen, piece of his garment, she would be healed. She was desperate. She moved through that crowd. She found her way to get to Jesus for a change. He preached that message. He delivered that message, and I got it. I was desperate for a change. I wanted things to be different in my life. I didn't want to hurt anymore. I didn't want to hate anymore. I didn't want to feel worthless, and I didn't want to hate myself anymore. I knew I was missing. I was missing a piece of my life. I knew I needed Jesus, and that's when it happened. The presence of God, undeniable. Oh, I let loose, and I had my girlfriend and I had a few other friends. They were on either side of me. They were shocked, or I don't know if they realized what was going on, but they lifted me up. I didn't even feel like I could walk, but they lifted me up, carried me up to the front where everyone was praying. Next thing you know, I was just taking it all in. That was surrender. I was done. I was done trying to do things on my own. I was done trying to fight. It's like, I need my relationship with Jesus. I needed this. I need Jesus. And I'm on the ground, and I just remember there were so many hands and so many people praying over me. My life changed, and it wasn't an overnight thing. This was a process. You know, people think, well, you start going to church, you have to first fix yourself, fix who you are and all that before you go to church. No. You come as you are. You show up there and you darken that church door, an ugly, disgusting sinner. Trust in God and he'll fix the rest. So with that changed, how my rap music changed, because I was doing the same thing that other rappers were doing. I was being vulgar. I was cursing up a storm. There was just a lot of content that was all like that I was doing that was just similar. I didn't have my own identity at first. Like, I didn't know really what direction I was going to go. I was simply just, the first people who noticed the change right away, I mean, definitely my little brother, because he, became a Christian way before I did. He noticed the difference. My mom started knowing the change. It's just the people who are around you constantly, they're the first to notice that something is different. And then my friends at school, they were teasing me about it. They was like, no way, you did what now? Some of them were even kind of upset at me about it, or upset with me. It's like, no, man, you serious? You did what now? What's all this God talking about Jesus all the time, man? Can't we talk about something else? Can we talk about like what we used to talk about? There's a lot of people who did not handle it well. That's where the whole Christian rap thing started, and I want to do a little bit differently. If you label me a Christian rapper, that's your prerogative. But the thing is, Jesus did not save my music. He saved me. So I felt also a little bit of this personal thing that God blessed me with these talents, but I don't feel like my talents are meant to be enjoyed by just one specific group. I kind of felt like it was slightly misleading in a way. It's like, no, my artwork or anything that I do just does not belong to the Christian people. It should be belonging to everybody. Everybody should feel happiness or joy from it. Like, I want to be able to put smiles on everyone's face if I can. Not everybody's going to like me. I do have haters. There are people who choose not to like me for whatever reason. That's okay. That's going to happen. But at least I want to try to make that attempt. So I wanted to do clean content. Like, I didn't feel like my artwork or anything I did needed to be tainted or needed to, I guess, be disrespectful. Because think about it. This is... So, I don't want to get into the whole debate about, Christianity is not a religion, or there's religion practices, but Christianity is more about a relationship with Jesus. So if Jesus is my best friend, if I have this relationship with Jesus, well, I'm going to try to do things to make him happy. I don't want to offend my friend or offend this person who I have this personal relationship with. So I feel like anything that I do and it's out of the norm, it's worldly, or it's doing what the world does, well, that's kind of being disrespectful to Jesus. Well, he's given me these things, just like God can give. I mean, it's said that God can also take away. I don't feel like he's just going to up and take away my drawing ability, or put me in a situation where I'm not going to be able to do music or anything like that, but he can. It is within his power to do so. But I just really feel like it's important to have that distinction and that separation, because people who are going through struggling and hard times, how they're going to know that it matters to choose Jesus, or what, why? Because everybody's looking for their fix, or they're looking for something to make them feel better. But a lot of the things in this world, it's just temporary thing. I didn't want a temporary fix. I already been there and did that. I experimented and smoked a thing of weed one time before my 18th birthday. It felt like that was a bad choice, and there was nothing for me in that kind of life. So I couldn't find it with in drugs or all that other stuff, because it's all just temporary stuff. And I felt like I didn't need it. So trying to keep on doing the things that the world is doing, or the world is into, knowing that really there's no life for me in those kinds of things. There had to be a change. There had to be different. So it wasn't that people say, oh, Christians, they just have all these rules you got to go through, these cannot do's. It wasn't so much that. No one told me that I can't do certain things. It was that there's this new desire, because I had this new found love now. So doing the old stuff, it just wasn't working. Sometimes, I fall down flat on my face. I have to ask God for forgiveness, but I think the hardest lesson, I'm going to tell you this, I hate to lose. It's not like you become a Christian and like God is like a slot machine or a vending machine. You put something good in and you expect God to kind of feed something good out all the time. It doesn't really work like that. It's one of those things, like, you get out of the Christian life what you put into it. They talk about praying, they talk about reading your Bible, they talk about being among believers. So these core things influence me to want to do things that try to better glorify God. I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it or good at it, because you have some professed Christians that walk around, they seem like they got all the answers and they got it all figured out. It was another danger. I had to be weary and be careful about the Christian pedestal. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a fit man for the Christian pedestal. I do not belong on the Christian pedestal. The only person that should be on there is Jesus. And I also tell people, please don't put your faith and hope in me. This flesh, it's dirty, it's evil, but at the same time, it's a process. I'm never going to be perfect, and I'm not going to be able to have all the answers or do everything right all the time. Like, that doesn't happen. I hate to lose. I hate my failures, but I understand that my failures is a process to grow, and I learn and grow and mature from them. It sucks, but it happens. It's kind of a part of life. You can't win all the time. You can't succeed all the time, but I love being on the mountaintop. I love being up at the top. But someone brought it to my attention. Missy Lane told me that up in the mountaintop, you like being on top because you can see the view, but up at the top of the mountain, it's barren, it's cold. But at the valley, there's vegetation, there's life, there's flowers, there's grass, there's things that grow. While you want to be up on the mountaintop and, always winning, but in the valley is where you grow and you mature. She said that. I always kind of keep that in mind whenever I get upset or irritated about my failures or losing. I always think about how the valley is where I have to grow and mature and thrive. Mountaintop, as much as it cool is to reach that summit, you kind of have to have those humbling situations. So that's why I said it's good for people to fan the fire. They notice someone's on fire and they fan it, or they try to encourage it, but be careful for that Christian pedestal. Once I got it and people were just interested in ways I could serve the church, how I can be involved in the church, I had to learn the balances of not getting burnt out. And I tell you what, Christian people are some of the most supportive people they can be. So with my rap music, there was just so many blessed and unexpected situations with that. The church I was attending or was a member of, was predominantly white. It's predominantly a white church. I love them just the same. Like, they were brothers and sisters. There was people who really looked out for me, really cared about me. And then that's when, as the transformation happened, I didn't really mind the hug so much because I got it. We're supposed to be passing through this earth, preparing ourselves for heaven. You're going to have a whole melting pot up there. There's going to be white, black, Asian, Catholic, whatever. As long as they chose Jesus, they're going to end up there. We're going to be celebrating, hugging, in tears, all that. So it made me understand, we're kind of just getting used to this environment. So diversity was important. Even though this was a Christian body of believers, racism still had to find a way to show up there. That's again when a part of the transformation, when I had to learn to actually speak up and voice out my feelings, to be vocal about certain things, because people still said things that were offensive, or still said things that I thought was off, but I had to approach those people and learn how to say, well, that affected me when you said that. I really didn't feel great about it, how you came at me like that. I had to learn and pick up on those things, because unfortunate as it is, there's no such thing as a perfect church. You probably heard that said, but you got to get that out of your head. There's no perfect church when, the church body is filled with imperfect people that definitely need Jesus daily, still. As I got more involved with the church, that's when the music changed. And as I started writing more Christian material, I'm up there performing rap songs during church services. If you were to tell me maybe a few weeks ago or a few months ago before that time that I was going to be 18 years old, this kid from the background that I was in, from the projects, a single mom, raising me, and I was going to be 18 years old, just coming out of high school, but I was going to be rapping in front of a church congregation full of mainly white people, I probably would have laughed in your face. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't even know what I would have said to that, but it happened. I went from being this vulgar, angry charge, just upset, hated the world and everybody in it, to now I'm riding with my Savior.
Change your heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be what it do, you don't lie no more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be what's good, don't carry scars no more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be how you live, strive for a life that's more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. So what's really true? Is there anyone to listen? Everybody's talking, but nobody's speaking. Troubled young teens, steady cutting their wrists. Some people downplaying life, thinking God don't exist. So much hate within faith. Where's the love of Jesus in that? When false doctrine becomes God, there's no truth in that. Just Just an imperfect man in this imperfect world. Got these ills coming down on me, trying to put a frown on me. Remember once before, thought I couldn't take any more. Wanted to end my own life cause my heart was sore. All the hate and anger in me, didn't ask for any pity. Living life within the gritty, all I cared about was money. Fast women, fast cars, being the man in charge. Until I was humbled, met the God in charge. Went from dreams of living large to a faith growing larger. When they ask what's good, yo, I'm riding with the Savior. Be what it is, you don't curse no more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be what it do, you don't lie no more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be what's good, don't carry scars no more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with the Savior. Be how you live, strive for a life that's more. Living with the change of heart, cause I'm riding with.
Among the opportunities that I got, from rapping in front of congregations to going to other places and showcasing my talent, like that kind of got me prepared and helped me more with performing live, performing in front of people. And there was all about it. A lot of my Christian songs, they're looked at as mostly this huge prayer. They're constantly prayers where I feel like I'm having a conversation with God, or I'm talking about material or things that I feel like other people of faith can relate to. It was a new level of discovery of what I was able to do and what I was able to create. And then it eventually evolved into when I was performing in nursing homes. There was criticisms, not everybody was all for it, I don't really care for rap, but, or rap doesn't belong in the church. Why is he rapping in the church? Or, rap doesn't belong in a nursing home. I thought that was wild. But if that's the wildest thing that I do in my life was doing rap songs in a nursing home, about Jesus, or giving some kind of worship service, helping out with the worship service. And it wasn't like I was talking about anything gangster or thuggish, because trust me, I had that thug phase. I had to find out, just in recent years, that some people, my peers, labeled me as Thug Brandon, and they weren't kidding. People were aware of my past. Some people were, who actually paid attention. There's those who, were probably oblivious. They're probably going to watch this and they're going to probably be shocked. But like I said, this was after high school. It followed me into community college. Still, everybody was looking at it like, man, why are you doing this? You're not going to get anywhere by, doing clean raps. That's not what making the money. Look at Eminem and look at Bone Thugs and Harmony and look at Biggie Small. Look at all these other rappers, Tupac. No one's going to be listening to that clean stuff or, that godly stuff. We don't want to. So, I got it everywhere just because I kind of wanted to be different. I was like, being a rap artist, just an independent rap artist, and the journey that has taken me so far that it helped me break barriers and helped me interact with certain people. So I like this healthy balance. The thing that sets me apart is I have this balance to where I can reach people who are of the Christian faith or conservative, who don't really care for all the heavy violence and the cursing or the suggestive lyrics, but I can also manage to reach the secular people who are, you got to respect where they are. They're not of the Christian faith. They really don't, know things about God or feel any connection with God. But somehow I managed to relate and connect with those people because of my past and my pains. And I could tell that story. I can be fiery. Sometimes my temper, does come out, my militant kind of behavior. But also you have the gentle or the loving or the nurturing, where I'm telling a story or I'm trying to bring about some positivity. I feel like whatever I do with my artwork, it needs to belong to everybody who wants to enjoy it. It needs to be shared with everybody. I don't feel like it should be confined to just one group of people. I feel like that's just, I don't want to say a waste, but that kind of is. I feel like it should belong to everybody. To label my talents or my abilities it's not just for Christian people. It's not just for secular people. I think it's everybody, because I want to be able to bring joy to everybody or bring happiness to everybody. I want everybody to hopefully experience it. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. They can move on. You have your favorite artists. You have your not so favorite artists. Some people like Taylor Swift. Some people like Beyonce. Some people like Billie Eilish. Some people don't. It doesn't matter. Like, you kind of can't put yourself in that position. I have a group of fans or a certain demographic. They have theirs. all I want to do is just create great art, whatever that is, whether it's in the music, whether it's in the characters I portray, whether it's a painting, a drawing, a sculpture, whatever kind of art that I'm doing. I just want to create it because it's fun. It's an extension of myself. Because like me, myself, I kind of still don't feel like I'm that very exciting, but you add the art elements to it and I dial it up. Suddenly I'm creating this larger than life, this legendary figure. There's a few people out there now that know Brandon Smith, but then there's only a certain few who make the discovery and then they find out who B. Ray Smith is. Same person, not much of a change, but then again, you understand this passion, this drive, this stage presence. That's still me, but it's the more confident and it's the more stronger version of me. It's the me that I care for people to see because I'm creating something. I'm in control of the artwork or the situation where actual life and real life, it kind of can get boring. Some exciting moments, but I don't feel like I'm as in much control. And I admit, I am a control freak. I like to control how I interact with people, don't interact with people. I still have work to do as far as the whole isolation stage and being around people as I get older. People tend to irk me. I know that's weird because Jesus is a lover of people. I try to branch out, but I mean, I can handle people in small doses. I think over time, I have to admit that I might have a little bit of a thing with social anxiety. I don't know, but there's a lot of things that played into that, a lot of personal reasons why that might be. But I'm working on it and doing music, doing artwork, meeting people who are music lovers and art lovers. That kind of helps with that because there's common ground. There's something that I can actually talk about and communicate about. It's just been an interesting journey. It's been fun, and then sometimes it's been frustrating. There's been ups and downs, but I don't think I would change anything. I mean, I would like to change some of the events of my childhood, but now, I mean, a lot of that stuff doesn't matter because, because of my faith, I learned to let that stuff go. I learned, I left a lot of that on the altar and not pick it back up. This is what it means, going forward. I appreciate you guys watching. This is the 3rd episode of my mini documentary series. It started off as like a Q&A thing, something I was kind of experimenting with, but I think, I heard it mentioned that some people like seeing behind the scenes or getting to know musicians a little more, getting to know the artists a little more, getting to know what fuels them and what drives them or why they produce the certain content or music that they do. And I feel like it's important as old fans that was with me from day one to potentially new fans. So if you're discovering this video, I appreciate you watching. Thank you. Be on the lookout. I have my music website up and running, so there'll be a link down below where you can check that out. I have some music and some tracks on my website. New music is coming, so I'm in that writing phase. I'm into the producing instrumentals and the writing phase. Soon I'm hoping to get into the recording phase, but you should be seeing some singles soon. This is my musical journey, part 3. I appreciate you guys. Stay blessed, stay safe, and follow the music. Thank you.